Okay,
Well,
so
help.
Give me 1 second. It's preparing. And
Am
we're
I-
live.
okay, awesome. Thank you guys. So I will call this meeting of the Facilities Management Committee order. I'm Tom McCarthy, Chair of the Facilities Committee, and I'm joined by my fellow trustees, Brigitte Pryor and Sarah Shear, as well as our administration and facilities team. So we have a relatively brief agenda. Actually, first, we have any public comment?
No public comment. Hold on. Sorry.
No worries, thank you.
No public comment. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so no public comment. If anybody wishes to make a public comment, please send an email to publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org. That is all one word, publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org. You could also call and leave a voicemail, which is monitored at all times, and it is 518-290-6905. It's funny how I memorized that phone number, but not even my own. Okay, that's it. Back to mute.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to new business. We have no unfinished business. So agenda item 4.01 is a discussion about our upcoming capital project allocations. I don't know if Adam or Scott, who's ever appropriate, to go over the memo.
This is all Adam.
Yeah, you have to blow it up for me a little bit. Thank you. You have to give me more than that.
Working on it.
All right, thanks.
Is that big enough?
Oh, thank you. God, that's much better. All right, come on, that's enough. Okay, so our capital projects, the first one here at the Washington Avenue branch, there are a lot of improvements that are needed. Focusing on air quality, our HVAC, rooftop unit, and air handler installation. We had a quote from Johnson Controls, our current HVAC vendor, who we've just finished a major project with. Our Washington Avenue branch has a lot of opportunity, namely the old air handlers. I think they've been there since about the 70s, early 70s, are in the garage. This poses a big problem because typically air handlers, you want them to be outside on the roof, pulling in fresh air. And they're currently located in the garage and pulling in garage air. And if you would take into account the safety concerns this might pose with carbon monoxide, anything like that, we're not getting fresh air. And that's, to me, that's a pretty important change that we need to take serious. So air handling units are 25 plus years old. They're past their useful life expectancy. Our CDC guidelines and recommendation for increased outdoor air ventilation to our buildings due to COVID-19. And completing this work will improve our indoor air quality and provide better occupant comfort in the auditorium rooms. The auditorium is also connected to these guys in the garage. And so that's one of the large items. And to change the air handlers, put a rooftop unit, run all the duct work, our estimated total is coming in at $141,796, $141,796. You want me to keep reading each one, or are we going to discuss one at a time? How would you like to do that, Tom?
So all right, first I just have one clarifying question, which is, with each of these are each of these projects separate proposals, or are we pairing some of them together for our DLD grant? Scott, you're on mute.
This would be one large application
Okay.
for these three projects. And then usually what happens is, you know, fingers crossed, they don't get a lot of applications this year. They have a lot of money we get awarded all the money. However, in past years, especially now that the allocation's larger for some libraries, what'll happen is Tim will come back and say, we want to award you money, but you got to pare down your projects. So we've always gone big and then, you know, whittled it down to really what the primary, what the primary concern is, which to me is the first thing that we listed, because it really is alarming that the air that we're pulling into the large auditorium is coming from a garage with vehicles idling. So, you know, in COVID, we should be pulling in fresh air. We're not even pulling in fresh air. We're pulling in, this may explain some of the behavior. I don't know, but we're pulling in carbon monoxide. So that to me would be a concern. So my view is we go in for all these projects, hope to get them. But if the system comes back and says, listen, can you pare it down? Then at least pare it down to that one. And that's how we've handled it in the past.
Okay, and are we expecting to get a 75% match?
We always get a 75% match. I'm not keen on that justification, but yeah. They do 75 so that they can award money, so they can spread it out equally.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it makes sense to at least do these first three that are the DLD proposal, and then talk about all three of them. That work for you, Adam?
Tom, could you say that again? I'm sorry, my youngest was making a bunch of noise and I had to correct her at the same point you were talking. I apologize. Go ahead.
No worries. I was just saying maybe it makes sense to do these first three projects at Washington Ave that are the DLD projects, and then we'll go back and talk about them from there.
Okay. Yeah, so how this kind of works out is the second one here. This goes into our mechanical space. We have 9 hydronic pumps dating back to the 70s. We have 2 boilers that are out of service. The boilers were changed before my time about 10 years ago. The boilers provide hot water and the heat for the Washington Avenue branch. We do have the pumps that work in this space in tandem with our boilers, and they're also extremely aged and old. Updating the pumps to a more efficient design will allow the installation of variable speed drives to just kind of update the current system. It'll increase our energy efficiency, also provide a soft start functionality for us. Johnson Controls, they're going to work with our utility company to seek for rebates for the installation of the higher efficiency pumps and variable speed drives. Additionally, our heating and cooling plant piping installation, we have some mold down there. It's not asbestos laden, but again, that's also aged. And clean all that area up, all the pumps, all the lines, all the insulation, as well as the handles. That's what this 9 hydronic pump update is here, with a cost of $144,850 would be part 2. This is also in the boiler space of Washington Avenue branch. And then could you roll down to the third one? Thank you. In the same space as this project for updating the pumps and pipe and the insulation, we have the remaining old boilers. My best mental picture for you guys is to picture the ones, and maybe if you like the 80s horror films, Nightmare on Elm Street, they're really old, heavy, cumbersome, scary looking devices down there. They sit on concrete slabs. There's breaching, which is the vertical passage from each boiler, the ventilation, and a horizontal breaching. All of that comes out. I've had it tested for asbestos. We were hot, meaning it was positive for asbestos in just the rope gasket around the boiler doors. And when they built those boilers, they put them together in sections, kind of like ribs. Think of it like a rib cage. And in between each rib, there's some asbestos there. It's not an overwhelming amount, But in order to, we need to do this to remove all of that, clean up that space, and that's going to open up facility space. It would be an open space for us to store more of our facilities items, filters, everything to maintain our current boilers, parts, air handlers, belts, because we're lacking a lot of organized space as well. And these boilers are just sitting there rotting away. So that was the third part of this 3-part process to clean up Washington and get some things updated.
It would also be some asbestos removal that there's been concerns about.
Would the cost, that the $100,000 for this third one, where does the cost come in? I mean, is the asbestos removal the expensive part, or is the removal of the boiler the expensive part?
So I would tell you, this is an estimated based on 2 conversations I've had with the Cristo Demolition Group and forecasting. I'm still trying to get the number. They figured it was around six grand, 6 figures, 100 grand. I don't have that firm number yet. It's still taking a long time to get people to give us hard data. So this one here is still kind of in limbo, but it was an estimate. This is a real estimate. The first 2 have a firm cost. So I can't answer that with 100% confidence there, Tom. It's still in limbo.
Asbestos removal is expensive. We took
True.
down the building next to Howe, and that was pretty much more than half the cost. And then we did some abatement for some of the work. It's always Washington Avenue is the building that really still has the asbestos. And anytime we've had to do things, it's got to get tested, and then they got to figure out what it is, and then the removal is just really costly because it's man hours. Because people got to go in, they got to suit up, they got to do the asbestos, they have to have somebody sit and monitor, they set up an air monitor, and then that person also has to decontaminate, de-suit, and I think they get paid to even shower. So it's a costly endeavor.
Okay, and I guess my other broader question was, you noted that the first 2 projects weren't in the facilities plan. Why is that? Are they like just coming to your attention, or?
That's correct.
Okay.
Through research and getting used to the spaces and the properties, finding more items that are kind of supersede or come up to the top of just a basic assessment of the building infrastructure, security, our air quality. Those are where I've been focused since COVID hit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the other thing that stands out to me, and feel free to jump in, Brigitte and Sarah, if you have questions. But the other thing that stands out to me is that these aren't really public facing. And I don't know, how do we feel good about the public spaces of our buildings right now?
I think anything that has to do with air quality is going to be, it's a question we get asked about. It came up in a presentation I did today. So yeah, I mean, I'm really alarmed by the air handlers being in the garage, and it really does explain some things. And considering that we just redid the smaller auditorium to be a public meeting space, yeah, I think it's improving the environment for the public. I can tell you when it comes to DLD projects, they love HVAC. They love things like this.
Okay. And
then the boilers and the pump room, that all ties into the heating and cooling as well. And if pumps go down, again, aging infrastructure, that's going to affect the entire building, everybody's comfort, because we might not have heat. So we got some improvement areas there that are pretty, these are critical items that go to the public comfort.
yeah, under the second project, if you were to get some rebates from the utility company, would that money go back into the capital fund or somewhere else?
Typically, the rebates, and NYSERDA rebates are going to pull some money down off the top end of that cost.
Okay.
So you apply for a large project, for example, the Medisys project that we applied for, the HVAC, redoing all the building controls for the HVAC system and the software. NYSERDA chips in, I can't remember, I don't have the numbers in front of me, and that kind of takes off money from the top end or the total cost of that project due to you trying to improve your facilities, improve towards the direction of energy efficiency. That's where those NYSERDA rebates come in and kind of help some things out.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions, trustees?
No, I think you covered my questions, Tom. Thank you.
Yes. I as well. You covered that because I was wondering why it wasn't in the facility plan. So that question was asked and answered. But I was just wondering because everything is dated back to the 70s, 50 years ago. Asbestos wasn't a problem till now, like prior to. And how long has the brawlers been in the garage till the building was built back in the 70s?
Oh, the building has been there, I think,
Since the 70s.
73.
Yeah, 73, 74.
Yeah, the auditorium was done when the library took control of the building. So I want to say 77, 76. We purchased it in 76. So I think they added to it in 77. I wish we were in the building. We could look at the plaque.
77.
So 77. So my guess would be that's when they probably put the air handlers in the garage area.
So I would just want to know the timeline or warranty on the new, like how would they last another 50 years? Would, be, or will we have to replace within 25 years?
I defer to Adam on that one.
Yeah, you're asking.
That's a good question.
What's the warranty on replacing the boilers that are currently there?
Well, I'm saying if they lasted for 50 years, do the new hydraulic system pumps that you're going to be replacing, or the AVAC system, will that last another 50 years?
I really hope it would, but I would tell you just from knowledge, everybody makes everything now to break. They don't make it the way they used to.
Right.
Being completely transparent. Everything's made to make money, unfortunately. I don't have a firm date guaranteed from them yet, but I would typically go somewhere around the 10-year mark. And, get firmer. I can get further information on it, but nobody's given 50-year warranties on that item. It's just everybody's in to make money now, unfortunately. I like the way you're thinking, Brigitte. I would love to have a 50-year warranty.
No, I mean, I don't, revisit it another 2 years that it broke after he spent almost $500,000
Oh yeah, I guess.
on a boiler.
No,
I mean, on all three projects, I mean.
Right now, I can tell you the current boiler system that's there and how it ties into the pump, it's 10 years old, boilers are running fine. Changing the pumps and the lines and everything that are still old, I don't think the lines would give us a lot of issues, but they're showing their age. So hopefully they last another 50 years. I can get you guys more information of what type of warranty or timeline on the valve, pump handle, so on and so forth would go. But they're typically made out of iron. They've been there a long time. But then you got to start. If that thing starts to go, you're going to start replacing gaskets,
Right.
bearings, so on and so forth. They could just nickel and dime to death, for lack of a better description.
I mean, if you compare it to the BIP project, we started having major HVAC problems after 10 years.
Oh, well, I mean, I agree as far as, it's advantageous to try to nip things in the bud before it gets, as you said, we let it go, then it's replacing gaskets, and then it's something else, and then it's a sewer line, and, you don't know what's next.
Yeah, I mean, if we're 10 years into our new boilers and we move on the new air handlers, we're updating the current vital items that should be upgraded.
Right.
Air quality, heating air. These are just major things I've determined at Washington. And they'll go on the capital plan. I've not added them, but I will make updates to that as well. You guys see it, facilities plan, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, so we would be, we know like what contractors we'd work with besides Johnson Controls. Like they can do the second one, but there'd be other like buying the boilers from other people and stuff, right? And we don't have that information at this time.
So the HVAC work would be done by Johnson Controls because the board voted to have them be single source. Since they do all of our boilers with we brought it to the board and the board agreed it's just easier just to deal with one HVAC unit per branch. The asbestos removal, that'll have to be bid out.
Okay. And could you say one more time, like when you went on project one, the air handlers, are we physically moving the machinery outside of the garage?
Yes, so all your mechanicals, ductwork, air handlers currently go through the garage space. There's go through a door, you're in a large air handler room. It is connected to the garage, neighboring the garage, right in the same space. That's all going away. There's going to be 2 rooftop units put on the roof of Washington, and we're going to run ductwork down. So this total design into the auditorium and the other spaces that the garage currently puts air into. It's a total install.
Okay, and if you guys still have questions, please ask them, but are you looking for us to make a motion to recommend this as our project for DLD? Okay, so if there are no other questions, if someone is willing to make that motion, so we're moving to make this our 2021-2022 New York State Construction Grant application.
I make a motion to bring this to the full board, correct? Bring this, the 2021-22 proposed construction plan.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hold on, I'm reading out the motions. So it's motion to accept the 21-22 proposed projects. Is that what you want?
DLD.
Proposed DLD projects, right?
Yeah, motion to recommend to the full board.
Full board. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, and just before we leave this, what do you think the timeline is for approval and implementation of those three things?
On mute. I'm on mute. You're on mute, Adam. We're all on mute.
Sorry. You want to go or you want me to go?
You
Okay.
handle it. I'm enjoying you driving.
Okay. You're a good pastor. I like that. So it's all about the process for the DLD process. I believe final submittal is, you guys vote on it, then I think I have to submit it by, it's somewhere, guys, July or end of August. And then they decide by October. I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere around that before we know who gets awarded by December. There's phases throughout this. Submittal just started in June 1. I believe there's a time frame. I can find the hard dates for you.
So the August 2nd is the initial bare bones application submitted via the portal to UHLS for early review. So our hope would be to have it passed. The portal's open, so we'll fill everything out. We'll have the board hopefully the board passes it in July. That means we can get it in before August 2nd, which would be nice for us to meet the deadline. The final completed application, so that means kind of getting everything buttoned up. We're usually chasing people to get quotes. The final completed application submitted via the portal to UHLS on August 30th. On September 8th, the UHLS board meeting where the final award distribution is considered for approval based on a recommendation by the UHLS Board Services Committee. So that means they'll meet sometime before September 8th. And then October 6th, UHLS submission of all applications to New York State Department of Library Development. So basically, we hopefully we'll get a little bit more information before the July board meeting, but this will be on the July board meeting agenda, and we'll have everything together to get everything on time way before August 30th, which is a goal of mine to get just to meet deadlines.
Okay. All right, that sounds great to me. And then did you want to, I'm sorry, I should have asked this before we did the motion, but did you want to go over the other projects that are the capital fund projects before we go into the North Albany stuff?
I can go over that. Yeah.
Yeah. If that's what you want to do, whatever.
I mean, the other project, I'm going to go from memory here. I see we're on the North Albany piece. My memory sucks. I'm just going to be honest. Like I said,
Adam, we still have Bach.
Yeah, the Bach. I remember we had the Bach upgrade. So with the Bach upgrade, what we're looking to do is put in a staff office and about the document. I'm going to be laboring here, but
Here, then I'll take it. I'll take the wheel from here.
thank you.
So this is a project that we're asking for straight capital funding. So that would be 100% from capital fund. It would be for our Bach branch. It would be for a study room, office, and adult computer area. This plan is not in the facilities plan. Same reasoning that we did for the Pine Hills branch, which is we're recognizing that all of these branches were built without, without public space, without staff spaces or very cramped staff spaces. Just some background, when we did the branch improvement project, there was not a lot of thought put into staffing. That's why we did the 25% increase back in 2010. And these branches weren't built to have as many staff in them as they do. So the branch manager has needed an office for some time. So what it does is it creates a small office for the branch manager, but it also provides an additional study room. I know Tom knows this because he's a Redditor like I am. The Bach branch is heavily used for studying. It's close to Albany Med. It's Albany Pharmacy. It's the neighborhood that everybody who goes to Albany Med and Albany Pharmacy lives in. If you step in there in the afternoon, it is just full of people studying. So there's a high demand for study rooms in that space because you get tutors after school for the elementary school, and then they mix with college students and grad students. So this will give us, this is public facing, gives us another study room for us to provide. The other issue too is we get a significant amount of complaints, and I think Sarah has heard some of these complaints where the computer space, where the public computers are situated is very close to the entrance of the building and very close to the circulation desk, which creates a significant amount of noise. So if you're using a public computer there, you are inundated to kids coming in the door after school and members of the public talking to our circulation clerks. So what the branch staff brought to us is they'd like to move the computers back to kind of that teen area that's underutilized, that's by the study rooms or study spaces, and then provide an additional study space, as well as an office for the branch manager to be able to do branch business. So it's not a completely outside of the facilities plan. It kind of ties into some of the things we've talked about that are needed in that branch. That branch is just way too small. Right now it's our, I believe it's our highest circulating branch, or it was, and it's our highest trafficked branch. So it's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of noise, very active. And as we start opening up that community platform space, it's going to get packed full of people again. And they're going to be looking for study room space. This will also create some additional space for some additional shelving. So we'll be able to add to the collection as well.
And you feel like last time we mentioned that there might be a project at Pine Hills about the children's section. You feel like, has this kind of jumped that in priority then?
I would like to do some community conversations around the changing of space at Pine Hills. That's a pretty drastic change that we're proposing. And I think doing it without giving the community a little bit of a voice about it is not really our style. So, I'd like to at least go to the first, sit down with the staff, talk to them about it, then sit down with the neighborhood association, and then maybe do a focus group just to kind of, I think the move is smart. I think the public will see the move is smart, but I would hate to do a change that big without the public really being aware. So that's something I see as kind of a 2022, 23 project. So it's something we'll be talking about in a couple of years.
I'm sorry. Because when I was up there, I was getting the impression, because I mentioned that what we discussed in the facility plan with the staff there, and they said that basically not squashed it, but you reevaluated trying to put the children upstairs because of safety issues, and they won't be able to see them. So they were going to knock down a wall and make that space bigger, putting the teens and tweens, or whatever they call them, in basically the same space where the computers were, and push them back. So is that not in the works, or is?
You're muted.
That's what we're thinking about proposing next go around.
Right.
Giving us another kind of year to kind of flesh that out. The other issue too is that type of construction, and Adam will kind of talk about that type of construction can open us up to other issues, and some of the ideas we had to reduce noise. We really again, I think we need to think it out and plan it out a little bit more before we bring that to this committee. But I do think it's something that we'll probably talk about in 6 months, start planning it out, and we'll be having the, again, this we're late on this. So this is something we'll be talking about in January. So it's only 6 months away.
Yeah.
What do you mean we're late on this?
Usually we start talking about these projects in January or February, but we've just, it's the COVID problem where things are off. We wanted to get approval like last month on this. So we had it lined up with the fiscal year, but we can't get quotes. So we're a couple of months, the discussion's lagging by a few months. So I really see us bringing the Pine Hills changes to the January meeting.
Okay. You guys have other thoughts? Steve? And are you looking for a motion on this today as well, Scott?
Yep. And if I'm not wrong, Sarah, we should be bringing this to the finance committee as well so they can approve use of capital funds.
I would, because as I was going through these proposals, and I know we still have 2 projects left to talk about, but if we do get funded at 75% for the DLD grants, I think libraries in it for about 100 grand between those 3 projects. I see 80 grand with these capital funds, that's 180. And then the last project from Bach, the 185, is that 100% federally funded?
Yeah, that's
No.
100% federally funded. So yeah,
Okay.
I was going to say, no, we're not asking for it out of the
No.
capital fund. It's more of a, well, we'll talk about it when we come to it.
Okay, yeah, but I was just doing a running total, and in terms of finances coming out of the capital fund, right now it's a ballpark 180.
So it's a
Okay.
sizable ask.
Yeah, and that would be for the 2021, 2022 fiscal year total, all projects coming out of the capital fund.
Yep.
Okay.
And I just want to, I'm checking to make sure, I'm checking to see if there's a match on the IMLS grant. I don't think there is, but I want to make sure. And while I do that, Adam, well, yeah, you all have to make a motion. Well, this ties into North Albany, so I'll let Adam cover North Albany, and I'll look for the information on the IMLS grant before we get.
Are we going to discuss the box garden multi-phase?
Yeah, we'll do this after North Albany. So the Bach Garden is IMLS grant. North Albany and Bach is straight capital asks.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
Can I see the North Albany slide, please? Can I get 115% on the pew, please? Is it whatever it goes up to?
Adam, I'm gonna buy you reading glasses.
Trust me, listen, I've been wearing glasses
You
since I was 4. It's a trade.
You can borrow them.
If the sun comes in behind me, I'll burn right through the monitor. I'm telling you, these are some special glasses I'm wearing.
Just let me know when you need me to scroll down because I'll handle that.
Yeah, go ahead and scroll down. Oh, good. Look, so can you come up a little bit to that legend? So if you guys haven't read these documents before, I'm going to give you a little bit more information than necessary in case you're already comfortable with it. But use the legends for D1, D2, G3. These are your little markings you will see up on the document. But go ahead and roll down, Melanie. What we looked at tonight, you'll see the checked, what do you call the gapped little hash marks? They look like equal signs. There we go. The black and white checkerboard on the far left would be the presence of the new bathrooms that would go in to the rear wall we discussed. Okay, I guess let's start at the beginning there. I'm sorry. All the way back here, right above the word removal, you have the entrance we came in tonight. To the right there, we see 7-6. That's going to be your cutout for our vestibule or new entrance. The D2 is going to go away. And then the bathrooms is the, basically looks like a chain link fence. That's a better descriptor. Will be 2 bathrooms going in there. The remaining equal design, the dotted line there, that's going to be the wall that's going to be removed, opening up the rest of that room to make it all one space. The office Y134, and then you'll see office Y13 catty corner diagonal to that, where that server is to the right, Melanie. Yep, so those two, the server's sitting in W3. We're gonna bump that out and move W3 into office Y134 where her cursor's sitting. As we discussed, you won't see anything going on in the other rooms. Those are meeting spaces and whatever Rebecca Lubin uses them for. But this is just a detail of what we discussed tonight on grid and what's been proposed to the school district for approval to make these changes.
Adam, I just had a question. I should have asked this earlier regarding the bathrooms. Are they just single stalls or is it going to be more than one in there?
As far as I know, could you go down to a couple of the other documents? Do they have the details on here before I answer that? I believe it's going to be single unit gender neutral. It looks like one, yeah. So you got one toilet in each.
All right.
Yeah, so you have sink, there's a fixture there with a toilet, and there'll be two gender neutral handicap accessible.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, yeah, so as we go down here, you'll see, thanks, Melanie, the S12, right there in the main entrance, you see S12 and 3.6. 162, that would represent so that's your cutout there, the 90 degree, the 3 foot in, the 6 foot up. And then you got your 162, that's representing the door swing, where the door is going to be at the new entrance as you enter the library there. And then you'll see 4A representing the wall that they're putting into, make the new space, basically. That's what that's representing as it ties into the new bathrooms. And there's a better depiction of what it's going to look like with the wall out and the bathrooms in. And then you see 4A where it says a line in the top right by Office 155. That's where they fill in the gap of the wall they knock out to move the IT server rack. And it'll go into 156 there. I'll move on to the page 4, please. This is just the inner workings of the wall. There's some details here, construction details. Not too interesting, really. I'd rather move on to the next one. There's not a lot of exciting stuff. Talking about gypsum and some just architectural drawings here. There's a better picture of the bathrooms, how you're going to see the layout. So you can see the sink on the left, toilet on the right, vanity on your right, and then left side on 159. So left bathroom, everything on the left, right bathroom, everything on the right. I do not know yet what your little box is, but that's not really going to affect us. That's just architectural jargon or gobbledygook. I wanted to use that word. Somebody used gobbledygook.
I had another question.
Yep.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Go
it maybe not be maybe a silly question, but I know we're just discussing with Washington Avenue the HVAC system. So is this the HVAC system going to go on the roof of here? Who's responsible for that? Is that the school's responsibility or our responsibility for air quality and all that good stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brigitte. North Albany is in control of their HVAC. We're kind of at the mercy of them. I don't have control of that. I wanted to say yet, but I'm not even sure if I can say that either. So they have control.
Okay. All right.
You control the temperature?
Go ahead. I heard you say temperature.
Can we control the temperature of the room?
Maybe. I haven't been able to operate in the space. I've never really operated in it since I joined. So we went from dark to, Scott might be able to help me with this. I don't know.
I believe it'll be zoned heating. It was zoned heating at in the previous body. I believe it was a separate system on the top already there because we had control over it.
Okay.
We had to contact them, but we did have the ability to have them set it for us.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, as far as I know, we just have the space. I don't control their fire panel. I don't get calls about their alarms, simplex, Grinnell. I don't have any of that on my radar. And then page 6, is what we're looking at here. So here's your electrical removals, just the architectural details, 2D, 2 duplex, 4P, 2D. These are all these little definitions. I feel like this is a test for me every time I see it, but I know it refers to duplex and Ethernet over powered Ethernet outlets. And that's what you're looking at here, just more architectural gobbledygook. There will be plenty of network outlets. That's what I'm assured for the library use and internet. So that was a good thing with power. They said we need plenty of that. Actually, before you do change, you need to go away, Franklin. It's not time. Go to the left here of the space by the bathrooms, Melanie. Okay, can you go up one page? Go back to page 5, please. Okay, what I wanted to go over was that data drop. Page 4, it looks like it's in page 4. Come down. No, I'm not seeing it there. Maybe page 3, that one red line by the bathrooms. I wonder if they detailed that. Come back down. Sorry, guys, it was just hitting my type A nerve. So right there on the corner of the bathrooms, 4A, 3.5, that very corner, the 90-degree point there where it starts the little red comic book cloud, you're going to have a circ desk coming off of that corner, going straight across. I don't know how far, I don't have the distance that's accurate towards the document, but our data is going to come down that bathroom wall and then insert right into the circ desk, because it's harder in construction for them to just drop it right out of the ceiling. They typically like to come out of the walls. So that's some of the weight behind putting that circ desk kind of joining up with this bathroom wall. In the construction discussion, they were kind of not comfortable with doing drops because it's going to cost a lot of money. And since it's just an ask from us, that's one of the things we're kind of, what's the best, what do you guys want to do? And having them help us out with that. So we kind of went in, not wanting to ask for a ton of stuff because we're just asking. They can easily say no. They've been very good and gracious in listening to us and helping us get through this, and hopefully just having a pretty quick turnaround. I'm just hoping it gets approved. I think it will. I don't have any feeling from Mark or Turner that why they wouldn't push this through and us get moving on it.
And so I meant to ask this while we were in the room, but what is that gap between the, going to the right of the circulation desk? What's going to block that off from the public? Just like a display or something?
I don't have that answer for you. I don't know what we're going to do in that open space, Scott. Where that gap, when the circ desk comes off the left of the bathrooms, you're going to have this gap here. I don't know the distance on the gap, Tom, because I don't know the length of the circ desk. I do know that, the intention was to have this kind of a pass through for staff to come and go and it not be very wide. So it kind of felt more private for library staff, but I don't have hard measurements for you.
Yeah, we need to at least be ADA compliant, which I believe is 46 or 40, 42 inches. We talked about a desk that was split in the middle. I like that idea, but that's not the one we're currently looking at, because we're not going to have the desk made. It's going to be a pre-made desk.
Is the desk part of something we need to move on today?
No, I mean, we can, well, yeah, because the desk is a part of,
The 50,000.
yeah, it's a part of the 50,000 for the capital ask.
Yeah, that's it. I saw that it said new shelving in the ask, but I thought we were just going to reuse old shelving.
We do need to, we are going to reuse old shelving, but we may need to purchase some new shelving for the staff area. And also I want to see if we can replace the dark wood shelving that's along the back, if we can just extend the wall shelving out.
We had
Yeah.
piecemeal shelving that we pulled in from like other locations. If you noticed, it was mismatched. So we'd like to fully come back on that back wall and have matching shelving.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Not on these two projects. I would be ready to make a motion. Motion to include the Bach and North Albany projects in the capital plan and to fund it from our capital fund.
We're recommending to the board, right?
Yes.
This, I should believe, will get sent to the finance committee, double committee, and then go to the board.
And I just realized Becky's out, so I'll coordinate. So this is for the Bach branch and the North Albany branch? These
Yeah.
the two?
With the capital fund.
And this is to
The finance committee.
just send to finance? Okay.
Yes.
You approved to send to, and you're sending it to finance for their approval. Okay. Who makes the motion?
I made the motion.
Sarah.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so Adam, I'm going to take you for a surprise on this. I'm going to suggest we pull the Bach Garden multi-phase project off the table for right now. Just because I need some clarification from Lex about this grant, because there's a couple things I'm reading here which I'm not sure this is going to fit the suggested grant application after doing some research. So Sarah, thank you for asking, because it made me do a little bit of a deeper dive. And I'm a little concerned that it's not going to fit the parameters that that IMLS is asking for.
Okay, well, thank you, and we will we'll find out.
Yep. I'll talk to Lex Friday, and we may have to shift gears on this grant. Sorry, Adam, because I know Adam's really excited about this one.
No, it's okay. As we're uncovering these things, guys, I'll update the facilities plan. I'm going to get you the warranty question answers just to give you guys an idea of, Brigitte, what you had asked for, and the facilities plan with all these new projects as we're finding things out. Because I'm really into looking at the infrastructure and what I've adopted here. You'll get an updated facilities plan with those projects, so everything's kind of current on what we're talking about now. But it is kind of a moving target, which I talked about. So,
well, I will say.
Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, Adam. It's okay. Did you have?
No.
I was going to say, in the meantime, I'm actually going to run over. I don't usually go outside when I'm at Bach, but any project discussing removing trees makes me a little nervous. I understood what was said in the description, hazard when walnuts are dropping on patrons. So I'm definitely going to run over and take a look at that. But I will say, just to put it out there now, that removing trees makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, I get it. I love trees. I'm not trying to kill trees. That's not my intention. But one of the positives on this project is I'm trying to find the quotes and what are all the positive opportunities. We could get approximately 16 black walnut benches if we wanted to make some beautiful woodwork out of those trees. And maybe we could roll that into some thoughtful donations. I don't know. what the library would think of as just what is the absolute positive thing we can get out of a project like that, because the garden space being turned into a more useful space to put people in, more seating, the awning. It's an interesting project, and it is in multiple phases. So
I actually did have a question regarding the awnings. Would they be retractable or permanent awnings?
it's going to be a permanent construction awning. It's going to be about 8 feet out, and it's going to go the entirety it's like an inverted 45L around the outside there. And with that rough estimate of what we looked at, the current light poles, the anchor points where the awning's going to come out, you're going to have to go down in the ground there, but the curbing's there. So multi-phase of blowing out all the curbing and redoing that garden space to accommodate more useful space, but got some pretty slick ideas and some design ideas. Those trees are kind of, but they're a pretty problem. Just what do we do with them?
Were there, I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious, but were there a lot of injuries with the walnuts hitting people in the head? I mean, was any fatalities? Did people have to go to the hospital? I mean, was there an incident report? I'm just saying, because I'm with Sarah as far as the trees are concerned, because, I mean, I speak for the trees. I am the Lomax.
Yeah. I was going to make a one-slur comment.
Because especially in the city of Albany, that's all I've been seeing, the attack on the trees, especially like in the Lincoln Park area. And I found that it was a mistake. They weren't supposed to take down some of the trees that they did, and the gully area because of infrastructure reasonings. But, you know, it just leaves a big hole in this chest when you see the trees are coming down.
So one of the positives, go ahead.
So the concerns have been with the black walnut that staff have actually had to shut down the back garden area because patrons couldn't sit out there because they were concerned. And I have received incident reports about the black walnuts falling. The other concerns is it's why we can't keep vegetation back there, because black walnuts have a poison to their root system because they want to be highly competitive. So they've done that. It's very hard to get plants that will grow with black walnut trees. And then the additional issue is the ones that we've lost already, it's because the root systems were damaged in the building of the branch. And then now there's concerns about the root systems of the remaining trees doing damage to our building. So we don't want to get rid of, we don't want to get rid of trees. This has been a hot button issue since the branch improvement project. Part of the reason why we have the garden is people fought against the branch being built there because of the trees. But we've just reached the trees have reached a lifespan where they're now could damage the building, but also damaging themselves, which will cause them to die. And if one of those trees goes down on that building, we're going to be paying a lot of money for repairs.
Right. Okay. Because I know it's some very disrespectful squirrels that live in this area too. So, yeah, that is a concern with the, especially with the root system, because I know in my house, that's why I have a problem. I know this tree has to be at least 300 years old, but the roots are, you know, just terrible.
We took down a tree in front of the Washington Avenue branch. And it was a very unpopular decision because it had been planted by Mayor Corning's wife. So we hit all the things that get people emotional. Old school Albany, it was a nice Japanese maple, I believe. But we had to do it because the root system had actually gotten into the building and was damage to the front of the building, causing water to come in. It's like repainting the trompe l'oeil on the front of Washington Avenue, which is still there are still people angry about it. It had to do with the fact that we needed to patch the front of that building because water was coming in from the front of that building and damaging third and second floor. And, you know, the cost of doing that and replacing it with the trompe l'oeil was a lot of money. So sometimes we have to make decisions based on what's financially fair to the library and the taxpayers in the city of Albany. So you know, we can't always make good, sometimes we have to make hard decisions that understandably emotionally upset people, but we've got to.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, I was gonna say what Adam said, like you said, if you have to take down a tree, probably could repurpose it and make it part of the garden. Like in Orlando and Hudson, that Thomas Cole took the trees around and made benches and, made it part of the landscape. So that would be, something to consider.
Yeah, I consulted Legend Woodworkers. There's a couple of guys who run their own business, a local business. And he said approximately 16 black walnut benches, impenetrable, really high quality stuff. It would be beautiful. We could spread them around in memory or something. I'm just trying to think of creative ways to use that.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think this is something that we're probably going to have to do a little bit of community outreach before we make the decision.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this is something that we'll build, we build in the idea, we share the idea. We won't get everybody on board, but I'm sure if I go to Helderberg and New Scotland and even Buckingham Lake, those are the 3 neighborhoods that tend to use that branch and tend to have interest in those trees, and just have an honest conversation with them about the need to, they will need to come down within the next 2 to 3 years. And that's dangerous. Franklin.
He thought he had a slide up next, so he decided to jump up here and talk. I'll put it back down. Say hi, Frank. All right. He's been beating my feet up for like 10 minutes with a tennis ball. I'm trying to mute him because he's a freak.
That time of night.
So that's it on our projects.
Okay, so we made 2 motions, and I know Rebecca usually sends me a draft of the minutes. I don't know if she's going to do that today or
Yes,
someone will. Or
she said she would.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. Thank you. And with that, I think we're ready to take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Night.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Apologies for the mute fail, guys.
It's
Oops.
okay.
I had the headphones off to make my order. Then later I put the stuff back on. I was coming back to the meeting. I'm like, oh my God, they're